I've always knew, although I never had an example of, a marriage or a healthy relationship, I knew what I wanted.
So I took a lot of steps, up until the big question. I guess the first step is, asking her father.
And I just seen how many people were there that loved us and were there to support us, and then coming around the corner and like seeing Keenan.
I literally drove around the block just to make sure that everybody was ready. They were finally ready. She's getting mad at me because she's thinking we running late.
I was walking in the door fucking.
Planning for the wedding, it's currently what we're doing now. It's gone pretty slow, and that's because we're going through the church. Growing up Catholic, both of us, we want to get married through the Catholic Church. And with that, there's a process we have to take with a meeting with the priest and having a couple of meetings, going on a retreat.
It takes about a year.
Yeah.
Start to finish.
Go
ahead. Well, we've had our first meeting, and we're trying to get our second one still, but in the second one, it's all about we take a test to see or learn our compatibility, right? So we're not too nervous about that one. We feel like we'll do good. But they basically tell you with that test whether or not you should be together or not. But it's been a slow process through the church, but we're on our end. Mm-hmm. We're trying to get things rolling. We went ahead and decided on our venue. Mm-hmm. So we're just gonna go ahead and move forward with the venue. And what else are we doing right now?
You went dress shopping?
I went dress shopping yesterday for the first time, just trying to get an idea of what I liked. And it's crazy because I could never see myself as a bride or in a wedding dress, and it was wild. To see myself like that, like it made me excited because I had been a little down because the church it was moving so slow. But now I'm very excited and for everything. And we're also preparing to ask our groomsmen and our bridesmaids, getting stuff together and getting ready to ask them hopefully within the next
2-3 weeks.
Yeah. So it's moving along slowly, but at least we have some things in the works for June of 2022. So the wedding process, I'll say for anyone planning through the church, especially through the Catholic Church, the patience is the biggest thing you have to have for it, having patience. So it's okay.
So we didn't have a typical wedding.
Yeah.
So does it still count?
We didn't have a wedding.
Yeah, we didn't have a wedding.
My dad is a pastor. My dad is a pastor, and so because I worked in the railroad, my schedule was incredibly stupid. It was extremely hard for me to take off work, and the time I could have, it would have taken away from the leave of absence I would have had to take for the baby. So I was like, you know what, we just gonna go to my dad's house, and he married us in his dining room.
Yeah, and our plan was to have a wedding a year later, but then he got furloughed. We actually started planning our wedding, but then he got furloughed, so it was just kind of like, well, we already married, so wedding a wedding really didn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So.
But I got something planned. She don't really know. But I got something up my sleeve a little bit. My bad.
Can't she tell us not to stand up?
I mean, for me, my wedding was like epic. It was my dream day. So I have so many memories, but I think the best one was when I came into the building, came into the ceremony space, and I just seen how many people were there that loved us and were there to support us, and then coming around the corner and like seeing Keenan, like it just kind of like made my nerves go away, and like all my friends were like, you didn't cry, like we thought you were gonna cry, and I just like, I was so happy, like I was so happy that like we finally made it to this day, and like we're doing it so that we can go live our lives. So I mean, honestly, that was the best part, just walking down the aisle and seeing Keenan, and then just celebrating with like our family and friends. Like it truly was an amazing experience.
Yeah, and like she said, when I walked in and seen that it was packed like that, and we actually had people standing up in the back, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then I didn't think I was really gonna be nervous, but right then I was like, ooh. But that's probably what I remember the most. And then of course, you know, you walking down the aisle.
Yeah, it was epic.
Let me see that rock.
Look at the finger.
So my story is like twofold. One, the wedding day itself went by really, really quickly. It was a long day, but it went by really, really fast. The night before was a really sweet night because my mom and I spent time together, just us two, for like the last time, like, and just shared stories and cried and just was super sentimental and stuff. But the not so fun part was that hotel room. Oh my goodness, the AC was spotty. I was hot, like I was clammy, and I was like tossing and turning all night the night before my wedding. So I'm like, Lord Jesus, I'm gonna have bags of my pictures. I'm not gonna be together, Lord. I'm just like anxiety, okay? And so I'm trying to like fight my own nerves. On top of that, like I'm someone that you can ask him, like I like it to be Arctic in my room when I go to sleep. So it was so hard to go to sleep and stay asleep. So I was so worried about that. And so anyway, dealing with that, somebody did come to look at it, didn't do nothing. But they did move us the following day to the next, to another room. And it was much better, but it was like kind of late for that, buddy. But the whole time that I was like, day of, the girls are getting dolled up, getting their hair done, getting their makeup done. And I'm just like, am I here right now? Like, what is going on? Like, you know, like, it was just, I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone, you know? But once we got there and I started to get all dolled up and stuff, I'm just like, okay, this is really happening. This is really happening. Something that I won't forget, I wish I could, was my father, bless his heart, he apparently left his jacket at home. And so he had got to the venue on time, but left to go get his jacket. And by the time he came back, the wedding had already started. Just like the little, you know, introductory things. And at the time, I didn't know this. So I'm just sitting in the room by myself, veil on, dress on. I'm just like, all right, guys, you know, when is the cue for me to start walking? Nobody's telling me anything. So I had 2 coordinators that day. And so the junior coordinator, who does not know the rule of the wedding day, which is lie to the bride, she came in, she was like, hey, we're running behind your dad. He's not here yet. I said, excuse me? And she's like, oh, you don't know that? I'm sorry. I was like, what do you mean he's not here? So now I'm panicking. I'm like, where's my dad? So long story short, this wonderful child of God, my dad, got there right when it was time for me to start walking down the aisle. So I didn't really get to have that sentimental, sappy moment with my dad and my bridal suite and all of that. So that's the only thing I'm just like, oh, Dad. But he got there right on time. And when I got in, again, when they opened the doors, I was just like, oh my God, I'm really finna do this. So it was really cool.
For me, one thing I remember specifically about our wedding day, it was a couple things. So I think the first one was my mom, seeing my mom come up to my suite and she almost started crying, and I had to stop her because I'm like, if you start crying, I'm probably gonna start. So let's just kind of not do that right now. So there was that. I think the second time was when, after we did the whole wedding introduction into the what is it called? The
Reception?
Into the reception, we did the first dance, and we sang to LTD's love song, or we danced rather to LTD's love song, excuse me. And it's this one particular verse in the song that got me. I think it's love. I never knew that its touch could mean so much. What a difference a true love made in my life. And I almost broke right there. I never broke at the wedding, but that one almost got me. And so I kind of put my head down and we started dancing. I think the photographer even took a picture in that moment. And so that was probably the best moment of the whole wedding for me. Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, it was mainly, my friends that, I had known for a long time and, been through a lot of experiences with, and just, I wanted to choose people that I could really trust and be dependable and be there, because, I mean, I got a lot of friends, but I knew that this certain group of guys would be there. I wouldn't have to worry about them not showing up and being late and having to nag and call for different things. So that was the main thing, especially with my best man, my partner Wes. He was on it. So I mean, that's what went into mine.
I mean, for me, I had a cool aspect because every girl I kind of met at a different stage in my life. Like, I had my cousin who's known me forever, college friends, friends that I'm still with in high school, and then like new friends. So the most important thing I think though that I picked was I picked a girl who they've all been in wedding processes, so they know like what was to come, what was to be expected. So that really kind of really played like a big role. Girls who knew like that it was gonna cost and it was gonna be time consuming, because I don't think people always think about it's not just about the money. Like, we need your time and like we need you to be there for us and be supportive. Just not even for the events, because wedding processing alone is a lot. So I think that's what really played like a big role, is like picking girls that I knew I could rely on, not just financially, but knowing that like if I was asking for their time, that they would be able to like give it to me.
For my guys, the guys who were in the wedding, some of them weren't the first choices for me. I think it was just one, really. I selected mostly family members, some friends, but of course by this time COVID had hit. And so part of the reason those guys couldn't be a part was because COVID. The other reason why was because of financial reasons. They just couldn't do it. And so at the end of the day, it ended up being my two best friends, my two younger brothers, and her younger brother. And thinking back on that, I couldn't see anybody else standing up for me except those guys, because they're in so much close proximity to me that anybody else probably would have been a mistake. So yeah, it just ended up working out for me.
Yeah, for me, it was deep, because again, I really like value marriage. I believe in the biblical covenant of it, and so when I was choosing the people that I chose, I wanted the ladies to be people who either currently were in or aspire to have a biblical marriage, and also like understood like the gravity of marriage and like how like serious it is. It's not a time for us to be like cute and dresses. Like, y'all are actually charged to like stand in the gap for me if I ever need it, and pray for me and cover our marriage and stuff like that. And I wanted people who had the capability to do that, and also just like genuinely supported us as a couple. And so at the time, everyone that I chose made sense, because again, they were close proximity to me. They were really instrumental in like my friendship, and also like three of them that I chose were really, really instrumental in helping pull off the engagement and stuff. And so it just made sense. But my right and left hand were my maid and matron of honor, and my maid of honor is my best friend Joy, and my matron is my big cousin Keisha, and they literally like kept me sane during that time, because again, it's COVID, I'm in grad school, I pushed the wedding up, and so it's like all these things, and so they made sure that I didn't worry about anything. I literally felt like a bride. They pulled off my bachelorette really well. They pulled off my bridal shower really well, and I was really grateful, and I'm still very grateful for who I chose at the time, because it made sense. Yeah.
Thank you for loving me fully and unapologetically. Taylor, you have become such a constant and reliable force in my life. You are my lifeline, my reason for pursuing better, and the realization of my purpose as a man. I'm thankful to be your friend, proud to be your accountability partner, and honored to be your husband. With that being said, I vow to honor you in everything I say and do. I vow to put the needs of our family above my own. And I vow to love you unconditionally with everything that I have and constantly as our Savior.
I can honestly say that being with you was the first time I felt seen, for who I was and whose I was. After being with you, and I can say there's so many reasons why I love and treasure you. I simply want to say thank you for these reasons. Thank you for being my soft place to land. I love you from a place that I can't even articulate. And I'm filled with joy embarking upon this new journey with you. And I can't wait to see what all God has in store. And I don't know what life will bring, but I do know who I have by my side. And knowing I got you in this life is enough for me. Then finally, I vow to make all of our days count until we
Another reason why I love Joe is because he sees more in me. He sees he sees the better parts of me.
Keenan like wants to pray with me, and just super encouraging, because it can be easy to get defeated.
If you go by that, then your identity as a man is low-key lost.
And then now he's in school, he's in barber school to get his license. So for me, I just try to be supportive in any way that I can.